Hey everybody, it's Jax again from your Popcorn Review Podcast. Today's will be my episode 92, AEW Dynamite Beach Break 2026. Now, I don't know about you guys. We had a lot of surprises. We had new champions. We have some new correlations or new groups going on or partnerships going on. This was a great episode of Dynamite. Yes, it is a special, so it almost felt like a pay-per-view vibe or a pay-per-view feel. Great episode. I would say these little episodes, Beach Break, Spring Fling, stuff like that, they've always come out. They always do their thing. And we had two titles defended today. And an amazing episode, to be honest with you. Now, this started off with, Kenny Omega almost as if he wasn't 100% sure if he was going to beat MJF when this started, almost as if he was hesitant, but he did say, I've been doing this for over 20 years. And I feel like with my partner by my side, I'm going to do this. He goes, I don't even have the Bucks with me. And, it was almost as if, he wasn't going to win, or maybe this is his last title run as a world champion. It could be either or, but nice way to start off Dynamite. We also went into a match like right after that. It was Ciampa versus Jericho. Now, Ciampa tries to come out and tries to ambush Jericho hiding in the sand before he comes out, but like Jericho kind of thought that was going to happen, and he actually ends up attacking Ciampa from the back. They get into it before the match even starts. And to be honest with you, this was really good. Back and forth, both showing out during the match, both technically getting busted open. Jericho got busted open on some stairs. Looked like he took a really bad bump there. And Ciampa got kind of suplexed into some plastic beach chairs, and it kind of lacerated or cut his thigh. So they're both technically bleeding during the match. Honestly, this match was way better than I expected. They both were going back and forth, both trying to take the other out. Honestly, I just can't get over how good this match was. I didn't expect much from this match, to be honest with you. And they actually showed me more or gave me more than I could ever expect. Ciampa does take the win. With that being said, he still tries to attack Jericho after the match. He actually, if I'm not mistaken, he with a chair or goes hit him with the chair. Then he starts looking for weapons under the ring. He grabs a power drill. This is like the second time down he's grabbed a power drill, and he goes to kind of like use it on Jericho. Security blocks him. He grabs one of the pool toys that was on the stage and takes it and stabs it into the pool toy or the floaty, and you see it kind of like spin around with the drill. I wonder what they're gonna do with that, because this is not the first time he's tried to grab something and use. So is Champa gonna go ahead and hurt Jericho? Maybe do the eye patch thing again. I don't really know, but Champa takes that one. To be honest with you, if it continues how he had his feud with Ricochet, gonna be a few more matches. They had a couple run-ins, Champa for the most part attacking him from behind or something to that effect. But I could see at least one or two more matches of this playing out. Maybe redemption. I think what was it? Jericho did get the better of that exchange with Ricochet, but it could be the other way around with this one. Ciampa should, if anything. Jericho probably going to be retiring in the next few years, and Ciampa probably going to retire too, but he's going to be there a little bit longer, I feel, unless there's an injury. But again, he tries to use a power drill for whatever reason on Chris Jericho after the match. Don't know how that's going to go. You did have like a resurgence of the Brawling Birds in Clearwater there. They had like a vignette or a video package. They were having a bar fight. It reminded me a lot of those old 80s movies where people getting thrown out the saloon doors or people getting thrown out of the windows and, glasses being broken on their head. That's the vibe I got from that video. And they were like, oh, yeah, haven't done this in a while. Great to be back. So are they back in the tag division? That's what it sounds like anyway. As of right now, the Divine Dominion are looking strong as a tag team, but they're not really facing anybody, in my opinion. The Brawling Birds might have been their strongest competitor, and then, Ty J. And after that, there's really no big tag teams to go after them, or strong tag teams to go after them, I should say. So I really don't know. As of right now, there is a rumor that Megan Bayne may sign with WWE, which I hope she doesn't. She would definitely need a mouthpiece to go that route. I don't see her doing well. Even though they made Jade champion, Jade's championship run wasn't that great. And I don't think, at least Jade could talk better than Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne rarely talks. She always says like bow down or every like a sentence here and there, but she doesn't speak that well. At least maybe that's how they're trying to make her look kind of mystique or stoic. But Megan Bayne, I don't think would be a good fit in WWE. But maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll do something different. I hope she stays, has a good run with the tag titles or a better run with the tag titles, but we'll see. Renee ends up talking with Will Ospreay after that vignette of the Brawling Birds. And then you have kind of like MJF interrupt. They get into it for a little bit, talking, exchanging words back and forth. And then MJF spits in his face. Don't get me wrong. I know that they talk about this stuff before they do it. But if somebody spits in my face, man, that's so disrespectful. I definitely would have wanted to throw blows with him. Definitely would have want to fight with him. Just don't see that being okay with me. Even if you told me you were gonna do it, I'd be like, yo, bro, you better do. I'd rather get smacked. I don't even like getting smacked. I'd rather get smacked than get spitted on personally. But that's me. Now, one of the first championship matches of the night, Kyle Fletcher, the proto star versus Takeshita. Man, this match was crazy. Both of them showing out, both of them going off. Now, I will say though, when Kyle Fletcher came out wearing all his, his pink and white gear, he had one of the masks that Takeshita wears. Now, I wonder if that was kind of like to disrespect him or to show respect, because we all know this is a story. So it was almost like good versus evil, and that's how I took it. So, how do you guys think about that? I mean, honestly, it was okay for me either way, but great match. Both of them showing out. Both of them hit each other with hard hitting moves, man. Like Kyle always looks good ever since he shaved his head, joined the Don Callis family 100%. He is definitely one of the top stars in AEW. And I think what's going to happen is he will challenge Will Ospreay for the AEW World Championship down the road and making both of those guys even bigger stars in the company and around the world. Now, Takeshita was doing his thing. Kyle Fletcher was doing his thing. This match was incredible. Both going out, both hitting each other on the apron. Just I think Don Callis got into it for momentarily, but for the most part, it was a one-on-one match. Kyle Fletcher goes to kind of like show off, asks for some water for a water break, makes a mistake. Takeshita catches him. Then he grabs the water and takes a water break. But he goes to swing off on Kyle Fletcher on the ring post, bangs his hand on the post. Kyle Fletcher kind of takes over from there. He can't do his most of his moves, you know, and it just really sucks, to be honest with you, because it was a great match and I just can't get over how well this match was. Kyle Fletcher hits Takeshita with like a brain buster on the turnbuckle. Crazy as shit. The crazy part about it is it looked crazy in real time and it looked even crazier in the slow-mo. You literally saw his face kind of squinch up as he came down on the buckle. And then 1, 2, 3, we have a new international champion. Kyle Fletcher, the proto star. Didn't see it coming. I did post some pictures, and one of the guys was saying, hey, he is part of New Japan, so he's going to go compete in the G1. That's probably why he lost. I can see that. Kind of sucks because you did so much for him to beat Okada, and then he lost to Kyle a month or two later. So that title run kind of feels meaningless, in my opinion. No one hate me on that, but he does beat him. The family comes out and they celebrate. I actually thought they were going to beat him down, but he just kind of rolls out of the ring and goes to the back. It kind of showed respect for those two guys, even though they're, face versus heel. And if he does go to the G1 to compete in New Japan, it makes sense that he'll come back and go after his title versus Kyle. And they did say Kyle, this is the first time he beat Takeshita. So the Don Callis family comes out to celebrate. Mick Foley, the hardcore legend himself, comes out and congratulates Kyle Fletcher. You're one of the rising stars here. You are a great competitor. Cannot wait to see what you do in the future. Don Callis gets in. He goes, hey, man, we don't got to hear that shit from a washed up has been. We know we're the best. And then Nick Foley shows, he looks at his like, hey, dude, loafers. You see that shoe there? That's from my dog that passed away. You see this shoe, though? This is from the dog that's still living. If you ever talk to me with that disrespect again, I'm going to shove my foot up your ass. Definitely saw like The Rock's influence on that. But, Kyle gets in his face, and just as he looked, they about to beat down on Mick Foley, Andrade. Actually, no. You had them he started talking about how many championships they got. I'm sorry. And he says, we got the national champion, we got the international championship back, and we got the new and improved TNT champion, Kevin Knight. He comes out. Kevin Knight pretty much says, hey, MJF, I only did that match to get a title shot. You owe me. And what happens? Our boy Andrade comes out. Pretty much tells Don Callis, I was the best one you had for the Don Callis family. I was the best one on your roster, and you let me go. And he goes, hey, how you know? They just exchange words, back and forth. The crowd was loving them. They were in Florida, so they had a lot of Hispanics there or people who understand Spanish. So when Andrade was having an exchange and he was like, "How you know? Come get me, pendejo." They go to the back, and I thought maybe LFI was going to be there, but no. Looks like he had Darby Allin have his back, and they say, "Hey, don't check the book bag, man." They start beating down on Darby. "Hey, don't check the book bag. You know what happened to me last time?" They grab the skateboard and poof, sparks go off. And what happens? You see Andrade in the background like, "How you know?" Because he hit the button. Fucking funny as shit. I honestly thought LFI might have been helping him, but no, looks like he's going to team up with Darby Allin to go after the family. And Andrade put him on notice. One of those 3 titles on your team, I'm coming for. TNT, International, or National Championship. And then Darby once the TNT champion, so it's possible you're going to have a great match with Kyle Fletcher versus Andrade. Andrade's really good. I mean, kind of sucks that he left and came back, but Andrade's going to be a champion, whether y'all say he's a mid-carder or whatever. Andrade could be world champion. He was NXT world champion at one point. Try to do the same thing here. You're going to need some backup, whether that's Selena Vega, LFI. Right now it's Darby. So we'll see. Still not enough people because that team is jacked. They're stacked. I mean, like 11 of the Don Callis. The only people they don't have is women. And that's just as of right now. But Darby does have Andrade's back. Darby says he wants a TNT championship, a match. Andrade said, "I don't care what title it is, I want one." And then Speedball also calls out Mark Davis. Mark Davis, I want a national championship title shot. So it's possible they could lose one, if not all 3 of those titles. Don't see it happening. Don't see Kyle Fletcher losing, which sucks. So maybe Speedball loses and then Andrade gets in there because it's already made aware that the TNT is what Darby wants. So we'll see. And also, is Mick Foley going to get involved sometime in the future? A lot of people online saying he's old and he shouldn't take a bump. And I understand that. But he technically doesn't have to take a bump to be part of a storyline. They just showed us he threatened one of the guys and then boom, somebody interrupted. I don't think anyone in the past will let Mick Foley take a hit for no reason. Well, you had Will Ospreay after that, Will Ospreay, excuse me, and Jon Moxley versus the Workhorsemen. Decent match. Personally, I thought it was going to be a squash match, but they actually let the Workhorsemen get some moves off. Looked actually good as a tag team, but styles clash. Pile driver from Mox and Will Ospreay for the win, looking victorious. You did have at one point though, Moxley was getting beat down. Marina Shafir started smacking the shit out of him, like, "Yo, wake the fuck up! What are you doing?" He wakes up and they win the match. Great match. First, like I said, I thought it was going to be a squash. We really don't see the Workhorsemen that much on Dynamite. Usually on Collision or Ring of Honor. That's how I saw it playing out. But good match, We'll see. They're not going to let Will Ospreay lose going into, All In. That's just, it is what it is. You had Sheeta talking shit. Pretty much saying, I said I was going to win. Y'all didn't want to listen to me. And just know that TBS stands for the best is Sheeta. That's actually not that bad. Maybe she'll put like a sticker over the title because she's a heel like FTR did back in the day on the AAA titles. The best is Sheeta. Maybe just a sticker. Or maybe she'll change the nameplate to the best is Sheeta and put TBS small on the sides. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Now, that Casino Gauntlet match for a world title shot for the women. Now, you had Athena versus Maya World, mentor versus mentee. You had Tekla come out at the beginning of the match before it even started to take a seat next to the commentary team. You also had Mercedesmone sitting on top of the lifeguard tower, kind of looked each other over, but they're both heels. So that's why I said the heel versus heel. I don't know if that's going to work. But what happens? Maya World and Athena get into it. You have Sky Blue, Julia Hart. You have Thunder Rosa. You have Mina. You have, I think, Reina, they said it was from Stardom. And then surprise, surprise, Willow is back. Did not expect Willow to come back. I thought it was going to be like a throwaway match personally, but I did say that when Mercedes wins, that Willow was going to be one of her first feuds. Is it possible they're going to jump that? Let Willow beat Tekla? Because Willow wins this gauntlet match. She wasn't even in there for that long. They was in there for like 5 minutes and then wins. Because it was the first to pin wins the match. Now, Tekla attacks Willow, which was a surprise. Willow came back was a surprise. Kyle Fletcher won the match. I was surprised, but titles changed hands. And then you had the Divine Dominion attack Julia Hart and Sky Blue from behind. And Mercedes gets in the ring and attacks Tekla and Willow. So there's a new dynamic shift there. You have the women tag team champions assisting possibly the next women's AEW champion. So it's going to be probably like some 3-on-3 in the future. But I think Willow might beat Tekla at Redemption. I didn't think that before. I thought it was going to be Tekla versus Mercedes. But is it possible that Willow wins the championship at Redemption because now she gets a title shot, and then she goes against Mercedes to drop the world championship? They got a lot of history together, you know. TBS championship. They fought them in Stardom. Willow won the title. Like, it's crazy right now. Like, I'm really excited. Like, I knew Willow was going to be one of the stories that Mercedes was going to have to face, or one of the characters Mercedes was going to have to face. But it looks like Willow's going to win the title against Tekla and then drop it to Mercedes a month later, which kind of sucks. It looks like she's going to be a transitional champion. At least that's how they're showing it. Because I don't think they're going to waste another opportunity to give Mercedes the title. I could be wrong. You know, I could be wrong, but I feel like Willow's going to beat Tekla, and then it's going to be Mercedes versus Willow at All In, where Mercedes finally wins the AEW World Championship. Which I said she's going to be one of her feuds, but I didn't expect her to be champion. That's the only thing that changed in my story or the outcome of this. I think Willow could do it. She was going off on those girls. She hit everybody with some type of move before she pinned Julia Hart. So, what do you guys think? Is it going to be Willow, AEW World Championship versus Mercedes at All In, or are we going to have two heels, Tekla versus Mercedes? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Still going to be a good match regardless, but y'all let me know what y'all think. Honestly, I'm a little shocked by it, but it is what it is. Now, everybody said the man was going to leave. Everybody said he was going to WWE. Everybody said he hasn't signed his he hasn't signed his new contract. He's fed up with AEW. And what happens at Beach Break? Jungle Boy Jack Perry, or Jungle Jack, re-signs as the one of the first pillars again, and re-signs with AEW with Tony Khan. So by showing that, I see him being a world champion in the future. If Darby did it, why can't he? I think the pillars were what? MJF, Darby, Jungle Boy, and then Sammy Guevara. I don't see Sammy winning it because they haven't showed him on TV in a long time. The other three have been prominent in AEW forever. I feel like, Sammy lost his spot. Don't know who they gave it to, but it looks like Sammy lost his spot. And then right now, Jack Perry in the future is going to be the world champion. But don't know when that's going to be. I feel like if Will Ospreay is a champion, or Kenny Omega, I don't see him taking the title off of one of those guys. I could be wrong, but it's going to be there has to be a lot of build for Jack Perry to be in those shoes and fill those shoes, especially after Kenny just won the title tonight. Will Ospreay, I see him winning regardless, whoever the champion is at All In. But Jack Perry is again All Elite. Now you have Kenny Omega versus MJF Part 3. And the way they were portraying it was God versus the Devil Part 3. Kenny Omega had a great intro, almost as if it was his last intro ever. They talked him up. He looked amazing with the blue overcast on him. And the way they were talking was almost as if it was his last win it. I know it is. They were saying it was his last chance, or this was his last match ever. That's how it sounded to me. It was his last match ever. Now, this match was really good. Both going out, both showing out, both hitting moves. MJF goes through a table. Kenny Omega hits multiple V triggers. MJF tries to cheat, eye poke. They were fighting in the stands or in the crowd. Now, I will say what I've noticed, and this is not just because they were outside in this open venue. When they go into the crowd or when they go into the back, there's a lighting issue. A lot of the times you can't see the match. So that part always gets me a little upset because you can't see what's going on. But they were fighting in the crowd for a while. Kenny Omega jumps off the same tower that Mercedes-Mone was having a lunch break at, does a moonsault or a backflip off of that, lands on him, on MJF. I don't know what MJF is going to do from here. Like he said, he's 30. He won 3 world championships before the age of 30. And what else can he do with AEW? And he's also won the international championship. He also was the Ring of Honor tag team champion. So there's other championships that he can go after. What's next for MJF? He's taking a break, maybe going to do another movie or something. I've seen him do a lot of interviews on like Instagram and TikTok and stuff. So he's out there doing things, just like Swerve. He's out there doing things. And I think he did mention he's going to do a movie, but I don't think he could talk about it fully until it comes out. So he might be doing like press releases or something like that. But right now, MJF, he dropped the title to Kenny after crazy moveset. It was like Poison Hurricane Runner from MJF. It was Low Blow from MJF. Try to use the title MJF. He also got the Dynamite Diamond Ring. Will Ospreay comes out, snatches it off his hand. Kenny goes to hit him with the belt. He low blows Kenny because he convinced Kenny not to hit him. And then Kenny Omega hits him with like 3 or 4 V triggers. And then the one winged angel. to finally win his second reign as AEW Men's World Champion. This match right here could have been on a pay-per-view. This episode of Dynamite could have been a pay-per-view. The only match that I could say that was a regular match was Ciampa versus Jericho. The other matches could have all been on a pay-per-view. We got a free pay-per-view with Beach Break, guys. Hope you guys understand that. Like, who else is doing that? Who else is giving us pay-per-view caliber matches almost weekly without us paying for it? Can't say that. Again, this match could have been at Redemption. This match could have been at All In. This match could have been at any other pay-per-view, but we got it for free on a weekly rotation of television. This is pay-per-view caliber stuff, guys. Like, yeah, there might have been some stuff you can kind of poke at. That was BS. That was cheesy. Let me tell you something. This reminded me of WCW Bash at the Beach when they was at the beach and they were just like had the ring over the pool. That's kind of the vibe I got from this. You had the cameramen wearing swimming trunks. You had the commentary team wearing like golf outfits, the little polos with AW polos with shorts on. The only thing I can critique about this was they should have had the referees wearing shorts to go along with everything. But other than that, great episode, guys. Pay-per-view caliber stuff, like I mentioned. Great episode of Dynamite. You guys haven't seen it, catch it on maybe HBO Max on replay, which they actually cut out a lot of the commercials. So it's a shorter show. Instead of being 2.5 hours, it's about an hour 45. But Kenny Omega is our AEW World Champion for the second time, facing Will Ospreay at All In. What do you guys think? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Have a great one.